All right. Hey, everybody. I'm not sure if it's coming through just yet. I'll find out in just a second. You guys know how it is. You go live, press the go live button, and you're not necessarily live just yet. I'm gonna make sure the audio is coming through, and it is. Okay, excellent. Hey, everybody, welcome. It is Saturday night. This is Misfit Corner Scams. I had to pause myself there. And we are live streaming. This is one of my favorite nights of the week. Saturday nights is where I get to spend a little bit of time with you guys, get some feedback, talk to you about whatever poo poo hits the fan. And I appreciate everybody who comes in and checks in and says hi. And as I say that, let me cue in and see who all's here. Manuel, good evening, sir. Says good evening, my friend Drew and Avery. Happy Saturday. I have sent the invite to Avery. I'm not sure if he has gotten it yet, if he's able to join, but if he is, I'll bring him in. Manuel, how about them Jags? Did you watch that game Thursday night? Man, it was a edge of your seat thriller. Absolutely loved it. I don't normally get to watch the games in full, simply because they're on Sundays, and I'm usually working at the store on Sundays. But I got to sit down and watch the game in my living room, and it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. All right, Jim's here. Hey, Jim, how's it going? Says good evening, Drew and all. Welcome to the show. Tim's here. Tim says good evening, everyone from Central Florida. Once again, welcome. Dave's here. Hey, Dave, how's it going? Says hello, Drew. Tim says starting back home tomorrow. Okay, well, drive safely, please. Oh, here he is. Let me bring him in. What's up, Doc?
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
It's all right.
All right. Well, I'm just checking in on everybody in the chat, and then we'll get to all the good stuff. If you guys can't tell, I'm a little congested. I got a little bit of a head cold going on. It actually started earlier this week where it was annoying. But today it's gotten to the point where it's like, my face just needs to drain. It's like across my brow feels like a brick. And it's like, it's gonna suck.
Oh, you need to eat something spicy.
I got my orange juice around here somewhere.
Yeah, that's totally spicy.
Well, it's vitamin. What's orange juice? Vitamin C. There you go. Woo! I know. Guys, once again, not the brightest bulb in the pack.
Your memory's bad sometimes on some stuff.
Yeah, I know that too.
That's all. It's like you're not dumb. It's just your memory gets weird.
Oh man, there was something I did this morning. Something I did like every day, and I forgot to do it, or I forgot how to do it this morning, and it was like, whoa, I probably wasn't awake enough. I don't remember what it was, but it was something very simple, and I just forgot how to do it or how to do it, and it just like freaked me out for half a second. It's like, whoa, what the hell's wrong with me, But yeah, I'm awake now. A little congested, but I'm awake. All right, let me see what's going on here. Andy's here. Hey, Andy, how's it going? Says good evening. Welcome to the show. Dave says, Drew, do scammers ever call you on Sunday? I have gotten calls on Sunday. As a matter of fact, last Sunday, which was October 15th, which was the first day of open enrollment, I did get a couple of Medicare scam calls, which is funny because I got to tell you guys about a call I got this morning while I was on my way into the store. Oh, we got to talk about today's video. My 10 o'clock video today, in my mind, sucked. All 4 recordings were audio only. So you have me just sitting there going, while playing the recording. And while I was dubbing it, while I was putting it together, it's like every single track had a different audio output, and I kept trying to level out the audio so at points I wasn't screaming into the microphone. At other points I was too low. I honestly kind of hate making those type of videos where it's just the audio, but I tell you what, 2 of those 4 calls were absolutely fantastic. I loved them greatly. Avery, I know you didn't watch them, but part of it was the scammer laughed at me, and I was joking with him that his laugh sucked, so I was trying to help him do a better laugh, and he
Mhm.
kept going, he, and I go, no, don't do that, do ha ha ha, just. And the fact that he stayed on the phone with me that long, and eventually after we got done doing that, I said, okay, so what are you calling about now? But it's funny. It was a funny video, but it was audio only, so it was a funny audio recording. So hopefully the video wasn't so horrible that you guys like started it and immediately turned it off because it was so bad, the recording. But that's not the way I like to make videos. But sometimes when I'm out of the house and not in front of my camera, I take what they give me, you know. And I've had times, especially in the store, where I'll answer the phone and the guy will say, "Hey, this is somebody from whatever," and I'll say, "Oh man," because I know it's going to be a good call, but I'm not in front of the camera, and I'll tell him, "Call me back later." Okay. I had one today. It was a Spectrum scammer, and I'm like, "Hey, can you call me back later, please?" And then he did. And then as soon as he said, "Do you have Spectrum?" And I said, "Well, why else are you calling me?" "Of course I do." He then hung up. So I was like, "Ah, you idiot." So it wasn't even a good video. A good recording, I should say. All right, so let's catch up on real quick in the chat, see who else is here. Emmanuel says good evening to Tim. Sarah says, "Hello, Drew. Sounds like you have a cold." Yes, Sarah, I do. A little bit of head congestion, but I'll be okay. I'll be all right. The wife's like, "Take that." This. And I was like, I got it, dear. I got it under control." Anybody else ever had the situation where you get sick on the weekends?
That's usually when it hits me, and I'm fine. And when I was a kid, like by Monday, I'd be good enough. I could go back to school. It's like
I haven't taken a sick day from my job, my day job, in years because it always hits me on the weekends. And even when I do feel bad, I still work, you know. But oh well. 27 more Fridays, and that won't be a problem for me no more. Okay. I had to get that out of the way. All right. Manuel says, "Yes, I watched the Jaguars win any data vote on it, and I think I don't know what he's saying there. I watched Jaguars won any data vote on it, and I think you're okay." He missed. He got cut off there, so that's all right. I'm sure we'll catch up with him. Dave says hello to Avery.
what's up?
Sarah says hi to Avery.
Hello.
Dr. Deaths here says, "Hello, I'm new to your channel. Pink, hand pink waving howdy." Well, welcome to the show, Dr. Death. Welcome. Tim says, "I may stop by your store tomorrow." Excellent. Fantastic. Please do. Just so you all know, anybody else who's planning on stopping by the store, I am wrapping up early tomorrow, probably going to leave around 4 o'clock. We're actually going to have the wife, the kids, we're all going to my parents' house because my son's birthday is next Friday, but he's going out of town. So we're kind of having a Sunday night dinner at my parents' house, and we're going to celebrate his birthday. So, and I got home today, and I got slightly excited because there was a big ass box in the hallway, and I'm like, "Ooh, what did I order?" And I couldn't think of anything I ordered. I said, "Ooh, what did I order?" And my mother-in-law says, "It's for your son." And I looked at it and said, "Oh, I know what that is. He bought himself his own birthday present."
Okay.
I guess that's what you do. Well, I don't know if he intended it to be his birthday present, but it's something he bought for himself. And do you remember the board game, The Dark Tower?
No.
No? Well, it was this board game that had a tower, and it was battery controlled, it was digital, and anytime you would make a move, the tower would do something, and it was like playing Dungeons and Dragons but on a board game. And they recently did a Kickstarter, a crowdfunding campaign for it, and my brother-in-law got it and loves it. I've played it a few times with him. It's fantastic. Well, Mike got himself his own copy of it, and they keep putting out expansions and additional stuff that you can add to the game, and they all love it. And so he got his own so that he can play with his friends. So
Okay.
yeah, hey, if you like it, buy it, all right, let's see what else is going on here. Jim says, good evening, Manuel and Avery. Andy says, I got about 15 calls from scammers this past Sunday. I cussed them out and told them you are calling on a Sunday. Normally, Sunday is like a very, very quiet day for scam calls. But this past Sunday, because of open enrollment, I figured that's why they were hitting the phones. But if I get calls tomorrow, it'll probably be few and far between. So, but they are picking up the pace with those Medicare scam calls. Sarah says sinus infection. I don't know if it's that bad just yet. I've got a little bit of build up, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm awake. I'm moving. I'm talking. I'm doing my thing. But you can tell in my voice that I've got stuff. But
yeah, rinse your sinuses out.
Not going to do it right now, but yeah, I will.
Get a neti pot.
Well, no, I don't know if you do this, but I like to do it when I'm in the shower and it's hot and the steam's coming up. You just let everything go, you know. Maybe that's more information than any of you need, but oh well.
Yeah, then waffle stomp it down the drain.
I don't even know what that means, but yes, I agree with you.
You don't know what a waffle stomp is?
A waffle stomp? No, I don't. I'm not even going to look that up.
Oh, you sure?
Manuel says good evening to Andy. Andy says good evening to Manuel. Manuel says good evening to Sarah. Sarah says didn't have to work tonight, so I could come on the chat. Well, fantastic. Well, I'm hoping we make it at least slightly entertaining, even a little bit entertaining. So I appreciate you coming by. Once we get caught up on the chat, maybe I'll tell a few stories. Manuel says good evening to David. Manuel says good evening to Dr. Death. Says happy Saturday. Tattletale's here. Hey, Tattle. Says this past Sunday I too got many scam calls. They were all Medicare scams. Yep. Well, what's so funny is one of the recordings I released had me ask the guy, hey, this is like my 8th call today. And I realized I didn't separate all those calls out. So the next day I did that one with the countdown where every time they called and said mention Medicare, I was doing a countdown. And even though I got 11 calls that made up that video, there were many more that day that I actually missed, that I didn't answer in time or I didn't get the recording going. So there were more than 11, but 11 specifically in one day. And then the next day I released a video of all the other stuff that happened that day, funeral expense and so forth. So that was I forgot what day it was. I think it was Thursday, or was it Wednesday? Crap, my days have all been crashing together lately. This month has been flying by. And needless to say, that day was a very busy day. So Dr. Death says to Manuel, GTSY, and everyone else in the chat. Glenn's here. Hey, Glenn, how's it going? I noticed you were receiving lots of incoming calls while you were messing with the scammers in your shorts this week. Do you ever call them back to see what they were scamming? Not really. I don't really have time to call people back. From time to time, I'll call somebody back if they say this is the number, and normally it's a fake number. It's not a real number. But I generally don't have time to call people back. Even when they leave messages and say, hey, we're calling about this, here's our number. I don't. It's just the way it goes. Darlene's here. Hey, Darlene, how's it going? Says hello to everybody. Berth is here. Hey, Berth says hello, everybody. Manuel says good evening to Glenn. And good evening to Berth. Says happy Saturday. Jim says, Drew, that video about the scammer asking you to tell me your name, then I know who you are, had me laughing. That's pure scammer logic there. Avery. So I get a call from a guy. And every now and then I'll start the call by saying, well, who are you calling for? Just to see what name they're using. And this guy was so freaking dumb. He said, what's your name? And I said, that's not what I asked you. I asked you who you're calling for. And he says, if you tell me your name, then I'll know who I'm calling for. He literally said that. And I'm like, can't help myself. But the story I have to tell you guys today about a call I got is very similar to that, which is pretty funny. But let's catch up on the chat, of course. Darlene said, just have a friend request for my own account on Facebook. Had to change my password. I keep getting friend requests from a guy I used to work with many, many, many years ago. And I'm fairly certain he's passed away. But I'm getting friend requests from him on Facebook. And I'm not on Facebook. I have an account. I have 2 accounts on Facebook, and I rarely ever check it. I have family that have reached out to me and said, "Hey, I sent you a message on Facebook," and I said, "Well, that's the reason why I'm not calling you. It's because I don't." Facebook to me is almost as dead as Twitter or X is to me. I don't have time to use them. And I tell people, when people come into the store, I tell them I have a YouTube channel and you can reach me either with my email, which I have a card with my email, or through the YouTube channel. That's the 2 best ways to reach me, period. So, Manuel says, good evening to Darlene. Tattle says to Glenn, I can't speak for Drew, but when I get scam calls from my own area code, I always assume it's a spoofed number, so it makes no sense to call back. That is absolutely 100% correct. If I get a number and it's a 904, I don't waste time. If it's outside of my area code, like a strange area code, like one I'm not familiar with, I may give it a call, but I have found 9 out of 10 times you're calling some little old lady who has no idea why you're calling her, you know? So I tend to... The call centers, the scams call centers spoof numbers so often, all the time, to where they're literally giving you the number of some innocent person, and I just make a point not to. I try not to, bother somebody because I've gotten the call, hey, I just missed a call from you, and I'm like, sorry, buddy, not me. But that happens. Manuel says, my birthday's next week on Wednesday. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. That would be the 25th of October. Okay, that's a good one. Tim says, I hope to be out by the store by 4 p.m. Okay, fantastic. Make sure you let me know it's you when you get there, okay? I had a buddy of mine, actually a buddy of me and Avery's, his brother came by my store one time, and he didn't introduce himself. He didn't say anything. He just looked around and left. And he later on told my buddy, yeah, I went to the store and the guy just ignored me, so I left. And I'm like, well... And I told him, and it was Kodiak. It was Kodiak's brother. And I said, tell him to come back so I'll ignore him again. I mean, I try to say hello to every single person that walks into the store. I try to make sure they know, hey, if you need any help, have any questions, just let me know. But there are times when I'm either busy with somebody else, which happens, or off in my own little never, never, never world. And that happens too. So if you come by the store, Tim, just say hi. Let me know who you are. That way I can give you a good deal on anything you want to buy. Manuel says, good evening to Tattle. Sarah says, how many kids do you have? 2. I have 2. The oldest, his birthday is Friday, and he turns the big whopping 30. Avery, do you remember when that kid was born? It doesn't feel like that long ago. But that little shit is turning 30 years old. Wow. And the other one, she doesn't turn 30 for a couple more years, but she's getting up there too. So, whew, damn, I say it out loud, and it makes me realize how freaking old I am now. Anyway, back to the chat. Manuel says, I watched college football, Army versus LSU. Oh, I think I saw that. I had the TV on and I flipped through a couple of channels. I saw Army was playing, but I was really looking for either a Georgia game or a Florida game. And I don't know I don't know what I settled on, but I wasn't paying attention to any of it. It was just noise in the background. I've been listening. I've been having, I don't know if I mentioned this before. Somebody brought me in a DVD copy of the complete season of Thundar the Barbarian. It's one of those shows from like the 70s. I've been playing that nonstop in the background of the store, and it's just fantastic. But somebody brought me today a copy of, I think, the first 2 How to Train Your Dragon movies. So I set those up to watch tomorrow. So I love those animated movies. So, and having noise in the store is always a good thing. Dr. Des says to Manuel, happy early birthday. Absolutely. Manuel says in Baton Rouge. Okay. Darlene says, so is my son Nelson's birthday, Manuel. Okay, fantastic. Sarah says, good evening to Manuel. Mike Richards, hey Mike, how's it going? Says, I guess the Medicare scams are big business for scammers. You know what I think is funny? Is I've actually gotten questions on some of my videos where people are asking me, like, why do they want to know your doctor's name? Why do they want to know these details? Guys, it's very, very simple. If you think about it, one of the biggest scams when it comes to Medicare is billing Medicare for services that were either never rendered or products that were never needed or whatever. Like ordering an x-ray and an x-ray was never taken. They fill out the paperwork, they file it with Medicare, and they get paid from Medicare. The more valid information they have on you, the more quote unquote real they can make the request. And if they have your doctor's name, that only goes further in claiming that it's a legitimate claim. And if you think about it, if a scammer got my real name, I don't have Medicare, so it's not going to work with my information. But let's say I was on Medicare and they had my name, my date of birth, my address, my phone number. They had all the pertinent information that they would need. But in addition, they knew my primary doctor's name and so forth. When they made a claim against Medicare and used that information, it makes it that much harder for Medicare to identify the fact that it's a fake claim, that they're paying out something that isn't real, especially if they have like your primary doctor's name. Like, let's say you go to your primary doctor and he orders an x-ray. They're going to have a record of that doctor making a request. So if they bill Medicare for another service and it has your legitimate doctor's name, that only goes partially to verifying that it's a valid request, and it makes it harder for Medicare to identify the fact that this could be an invalid request because they're using your real doctor's name. Bottom line is, never, ever, ever give them any of your personal information, and never tell them who your doctor is. I mean, you guys know I make up names all the time, and Alan Wishbone is a completely 100% fake doctor name. I love it when they try to spell it, and I love it when I say, like the dog, the dog, Wishbone, the dog, and they have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Just brings a smile to my face.
Yeah,
but yeah. The more valid information they have on you, whether it be your personal information and information about your doctor, it strengthens their fake claim that they can make towards Medicare, because Medicare, it's such a huge thing that they don't verify every single billing that comes to them. There's probably an extensive amount of information that they check, like make sure the name matches the date of birth, matches the address, and so forth. But if they get a certain amount of information and it's all valid, they process it. Just like they're not going to call you and say, hey, did you order this MRI last week from this doctor? That they're not going to do that. They don't have time to do that kind of crap. They will make the payment, and then if it looks suspicious, they'll follow up later. But the more valid information a scammer has, the more likelihood they're either going to get away with it or get away with it long enough to pocket the money and run. So, and I don't have the numbers, but Medicare fraud is huge in this country. It is huge. Medicare probably takes a bath on a huge percentage of money that it pays out every single year. And the scammers know this. The scammers use this information. So, bottom line is, if you're on Medicare, never, ever, ever, ever give out your information to people who are calling you. You call the doctors, you call the people you need to get in touch with. Don't ever, ever give information out to these people calling you, because they're up to no good. They're up to no good. All right, here, let me catch up. Bill says, I'm here at this present time. Well, Bill, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Manuel says, I'll say that on YouTube, have to vote who wins game between Jaguars and New Orleans. I picked your team, my friend. Did you win any money? Did you bet? Did you bet? I never got into sports betting. Avery, is that anything you've ever done? It doesn't seem like your kind of thing, but no, yeah, me neither. I mean, I've made bets.
I don't watch
with,
sports.
Oh, I know. That doesn't mean you can't do it, but you have. Yeah, there has to be some joy in making a bet and watching it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. My knowledge of sports is like really little. I know the Jags play in Jacksonville. I'm halfway there. Bill says to Manuel, hand pink waving. Manuel says, good evening to my buddy Bill. Happy Saturday. Sarah says, my favorite is the cable one. The cable when you have to give a fake checking account. What is so crazy about those, Sarah? I have probably 10 or 12 videos on my channel in which they call me and I screw with them. And there are several videos that end with them cursing me out and me laughing my butt off. And sometimes me even telling them, I have a YouTube channel, I record these calls, I'm never going to give you any money. And they still call me back. When they call and say, hey, we're calling from your cable provider. And remember when we last talked to you and you provided us this checking out? I'm like, this is manna from heaven. You guys are fantastic. But they keep calling back over and over again, and I absolutely love it. There's a part of me that wishes I could pay them to do it on a regular basis, but I really don't need to. They're going to do it anyway. Mike says, are there, he says, are there from different call centers? I honestly do not know, but I've talked to a lot of scammers that have called me who recognize my voice or have heard the fake names I give, and usually at that point they hang up on me because they know they've messed with me, or I've messed with them before. But from what I understand, the call centers in India and Pakistan, there's several of them. It's not just one. It's just not two. It's several. I have no idea the number amount, but I'd assume
it's a lot.
Many, probably hundreds, if not thousands. Because it is a booming business over there, you know. Bill says, I watch TV in my shorts. Well, that's good. How do you guys know I'm not live streaming in my shorts right now?
What kind of shorts? You're like your undershorts?
No, I'm fully dressed right now.
Oh,
actually, I'll be honest with you,
Andrew.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I don't want to know what you're wearing. The only thing I have that's not on right now is I've got one sock that's half off. I don't know why. It's just...
Oh, you filthy degenerate.
I know. I'm horrible. But I actually... You know what's so funny? I have a piece of cardboard that I have over my camera so I could flip it over and cover my camera. Because I've walked into my office in the middle of the night or first thing in the morning, and I'll be like in my underwear or whatever, and I'll walk by my computer and I'll be like, man, if there was a scammer hacking into my computer right now, this is what they would see.
All they need is your IP address.
Yeah, well, I flipped the little thing over just in case. I don't think anybody's ever gotten my IP address, but I could give them a show. What's the movie in which the people would like watch a video and then they would die like 24 hours later or something?
Wasn't that The Ring?
Maybe it was The Ring. I never watched it, but I'm familiar with what it's about. But honestly, if I did that and somebody was watching, they'd probably die a lot quicker than 24 hours. In Minecraft. Did I use that right?
Not really. It's not the...
I know. Yeah, I know. Manuel says, my Dallas won over the Chargers. Fantastic. I don't really care what happens to the Chargers. They beat us once last year, but then we beat them, and then we beat them in the playoffs, which was a fantastic game. If you've never seen it, highlights are fabulous. But if anybody beats them, I'm okay with that. Andy says, Manuk, the Cowboys are off this week. Oh, okay. Bill says, I only use Facebook for family and friends. Well, that's why I have two accounts on Facebook. I had a public account that I use for everything, and then I had a backup account that was just family and friends. And to be honest with you, some of my family and friends are freaking insane. And I got to the point where I just got tired of reading some of their posts and some of their stuff. You guys know it has to involve around politics and religion and social stuff. And it's like, nope, forget it. I created the personal account to be able to step back from all the insanity, and then I realized some of that insanity is my own damn family.
Oh,
I got some crazy ones in my family, so well. But I don't use either account, or I do have them. I probably should purge them at some point. But you want to know what's really sad? There was a point in time where I posted every day on Facebook, no matter what it was, like just a "Hey, how's it going?" type of thing. And I had a tracker that kept popping up. You've posted it so many days in a row, and I was like, "All right, I'm going to keep it going." And then I missed one day, and then I said, "Why am I still doing this?" And I really started to stop at that point. It's kind of sad, but it's true. Let's see. Manuel says, yes, Andy, my great Cowboys are off this week. Awesome. Actually, I think the Jags, they play next week, but because they played on Thursday, they get an extra long week, and then they have their bye week. So it's like they were saying on the news, it was something like 21 days. They have one game in like 3 weeks. So it's awesome. Let them rest. Andy says both Texas teams are off. Very rare. Okay. Craig's here. Hey, Craig, how's it going? Craig's here. He says, hit the like button, please. Yes, absolutely. If you can, please do. I'm only 15 minutes behind, so we'll see if we can catch up real quick. Manuel says, good evening to Greg. And he meant Craig. And Craig says hi to Manuel. Pez is here. Hey, Pez, how's it going? He says, happy birthday, Manuel. Hope you have a great one, mate. Fantastic. Bill says to Pez, pink hand pink waving. Pez says, good day, everyone. Hope you're all doing well today. Fantastic, my friend. Fantastic. Manuel says, hiya, my friend Pez. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Pez says, good day to Bill. Tim says, I'll let you know when I'm able to stop by. Fantastic. Well, I had one of my high school buddies last week, Romel, told me he was going to stop by the store, and he never did. I mean, punk. He never does what he says he's going to. He never does what he says he's going to do, does he? Sometimes I just want to. Oh, well. But please stop by, Tim. Pez says, good day to Manuel. Hope you're doing well today. D-Bad says, hello, old man. I'm pretty sure he's talking to you, Avery. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm older than you. He's probably talking to me.
jeez.
Tim says, got to go get something to eat now. Okay, sounds good. Bill says, did you know Burt Ward had his own line of healthy pet foods? Oh, really? I wonder what it was.
Who knows?
Manuel says, good evening, Badad. D-Bad, sorry. Jim says, got a scam call from the American Heart Association asking me, can they mail me an envelope for donations? I asked them who they are calling. They said, we will put you on our do not call list, and hung up. I love that when they do that. And here's the best part, Jim. They will call you back again. They never give up on you completely. So you might have another chance to get that question answered. Manuel says, good evening to Mike. D-Bad says hello to Manuel. Pez says, good day, Drew and Avery. Hope you're doing well today. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, dude, I'm so looking forward to it. Supposedly tomorrow morning, it's going to be in the 40s down here tomorrow. Oh, it's one of the bad parts about this time of year in Florida is the weather at the beginning of the day and the end of the day are radically different.
Yes.
And it'll start off in the 40s and it'll be mid 80s by the afternoon. It's such a huge shift in the weather that it drives senses,
if you're prone to
sinuses.
if you have problems with your sinuses and allergies, it's awful.
You're going to take a beating.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to love 40 degrees in the morning, but it's going to shift very quickly, very fast, and that's just the way it goes. Manuel says, how's Avery doing tonight, my friend Drew? Well, he's doing great. He's here. He's here with us now. Yeah, this was from like 13 minutes ago.
Oh,
So.
I'm good.
Pez says, good day to Dr. Death. Manuel says, I like your videos this morning, my friend Drew. Very good, very good. Dr. Death says to Pez, glad my friend, person turquoise waving. You guys know how I read everything, even though I know it's an emoji. Glenn says, just had a checkup Monday and gave them my new Medicare number. They told me they had a data breach about a year ago. That's why I have 38 COVID tests. Yep. And every single one of those, Medicare paid for. Somebody billed Medicare for every one of those tests, whether you needed them or not. That was a big thing back then. Darlene says, Norton got my credit card number. Last card expired. Oh, boy. D-Bad says, make them prove who they are. They can't. I had a guy, I'll have to tell you guys about the call I got today. Hopefully I'll get to that. As soon as I get caught up on the chat, I'll tell you guys about that call. Glenn says, dad joke, I got mugged by 6 dwarfs last night. Not happy. I got to remember that one. Because I love bad dad jokes. And that's a good one. I got mugged by 6 dwarfs last night. Not happy. That's hilarious. Oh, guys make me laugh. I'm going to start choking. Andy says, here's another good B-Day number and that's April Fool's Day. Yeah, that's a good one. Star Chaser's here. Hey, Star, how's it going? Says Dr. Richard Dripple is a hands-on doc. Dr. Richard Drips. I got it. You know, I had an Uncle Richard, my mom's youngest brother, and one year I asked my mother. I said, "Does by any chance does Uncle Richard did he ever go by Dick?" And she goes, "Oh, do not ask him that. Don't ever say that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I never brought it up to him, never. But I asked my mom about it, and she's like, oh, he." Not a fan of that nickname. And I'm like, okay. You know? Yeah. Pez says, good day to Star Chaser. Manio says, good evening, Star Chaser. Bertha says, last Monday I got 21 scam calls. Wow. Yep. And how much you want to bet? If you're either on or close to Medicare, you get a lot of those Medicare calls. Tattletale says, I often give scammers a fake address with a fake house number on a real street that's too high. I would have thought they'd be 2 minutes to research. Instead, they call me asking for more info. You know what's so funny is that address that I give them is the homeless shelter downtown, 611 East Adams Street. I've only ever had, and I've been using that, if I had to... well over a year at least, because somebody recommended it to me. Said use either the sheriff's, the jail, or a homeless shelter. So I picked a homeless shelter, and I've been using it ever since. I've only ever one time had a scammer call me out on it. One time did they actually put the address in whatever they were looking at, Google or whatnot, and it called me on it. Most of the time, they just keep going. So I think they caught on to 1600. What is it? Pennsylvania Avenue. Yeah, I think they caught on to that one because I used to use that as well. I had a guy one time who says, you don't live at the White House. I said, well, it's a big White House. It's a big White House, yeah, but not that one. Darlene says, Norton got my credit card number. Last card expired. I put in a fraud charge. Oh boy. That's one of the advantages of using a credit card for making purchases. You can dispute them. You can, if there's fraud on your account, if somebody uses it inappropriately, you can get it reversed. You can get it charged back. But the the biggest problem is you have to deal with having to get a new card and a new number and all that stuff. I mean, I know that tends to be a minor discomfort, but my mother-in-law, there's been times where she's like, somebody tried to put a fraud charge, but I don't want to change my account number. It's like, woman, yes, you have to. And she hates that. She hates when that happens. But you know how often her number gets abused and used and taken advantage of? She needs to stay off the internet.
Yes.
Birth says, I told one Medicare scammer before he gets any further after asking me if I had Medicare Part A and B is I need his name and his credit card details because for every question he asked me, it's $250. That's good. That's good. I may have to try that. Sarah says, you should use the name Bend Over. I think somebody else has already used that one before. So Bill says, to Star Chaser, sends him pictures of stars. Very good. Oh, Glass Bottle's here. Hey, Glass Bottle, how's it going? Says, hello, E&E. Manuel says, hiya to Glass Bottle. Let's see. Bill says, you said something about editing your shorts earlier? Oh, geez, Louise. I knew he was going to go somewhere with that. I don't edit my short. Well, sometimes I edit my shorts, but my shorts are on right now. Pez says, good day to Glass Bottle. Says, hope you are well today. Glass Bottle says to Sarah, scammers get mad when you tell them your name is Raj Patel. You know, I tried really hard to come up with a fake Indian name on one of my calls, and I completely blanked, and I just did a really bad job at it. So I got to actually write some of these down. I forgot. I think Glenn sent me a list of fake names to use, and I got to pull that list up again. You know, Glass Bottle says, hey to Pez. Glass Bottle says to Manuel, hello again. This will be my last scammer stream for today, and back to scam baiting, hoping tomorrow. Very good. Star Chaser says, family is like when you break up with your viral girlfriend and you hear your uncle crying in his room. Oh, jeez.
Virtual girlfriend.
Virtual girlfriend. Yeah. Did I say viral?
Yes.
Oh, my God. English, guys. Sorry.
English. Do you speak?
Manuel says, okay, Glass Bottle. See you tomorrow after church. Dingbat. Hey, Dingbat. Welcome to the show. I said I like the breast cancer calls. I will stay crying and say I need help to pay my cancer bills, and they hang up. That's mean, but that's good. Sarah says, Avery, do you live in Florida? He used to.
Used to.
Yeah. Now he lives a little further up. Actually, Avery's like my northern friend right now. And that would make Todd my really, really northern friend.
Yeah, Todd's further north than I am.
Yeah, but you guys are technically, you're all still in the South, though, right?
Yes.
No, well, North Carolina, it's still
the South.
A little bit of the South, yeah. No, he's not in Florida anymore. We miss him, but we're also glad he's not here. He's so tall. He's so tall, he can affect the weather. So we're glad he's not here screwing up our weather. That's actually a Raphael joke, you know?
Raphael is tall. He's a freak.
Dude, we went out to dinner the other night. It was me, Jen, and the kids, Mike, Ayla, and Raphael, and we're leaving. And it was a seafood restaurant. It was a little shack type seafood place, and there was a light dangling down when you walk out the door because they have like a patio where people can sit and wait. Yeah. And I'm watching his head, and he's looking down, talking to Ayla, and I'm watching his head go right for this thing. I mean, if he had not moved at the last second, he would have popped his head right on it. And I went, Raphael, look out! He was smart enough to know it was coming and saw it, but I mean, he was. I'm like looking at him, go, this is definitely tall people, real world problems, you know, watching out for hanging down, dangling lights.
Yeah.
It's one of those things I don't ever worry about, but man, I was frightened for him. It's like watching a car accident getting ready to happen, and like your butt clenches up because you're scared it's going to happen, and it almost happened head first right into it, but it didn't. He got away from it. I think he's got enough experience with lights and ceiling fans and crap like that.
Oh, geez, yeah, dude, that dude's gonna gets a haircut all the time, probably from ceiling fans.
Oh, that's so sad. All right, let me catch back up on the chat. Manuel says, Happy Saturday to Dingbat. Bill says, hello, all. Welcome, Bill. Welcome to the show. Darlene says, I'd been pouring rain. It had been pouring rain all day. They had to. I think YouTube is cutting off people's chats or comments because this is like the third or fourth one where it like ended prematurely, So I'm sure we'll catch up to it. Manuel says, good evening to Bill. Bill says hello to Manuel. Bill says howdy to Bill G. Bill G says hello to Bill. It's Bill and Bill back and forth. Craig says Burt Ward, Robin on Batman from the 60s in color. Okay. Manuel says, Drew, I see at your office it was your son or daughter. Oh, yes. In the one video that was my daughter. That was the night we were all going out to dinner and she was in my office looking for something. Yes, that was her sneaking around the background. I tell him, I said, listen, if I'm on a call, I'm on a call. I'm working, guys. So she's just in the way. So
that's why her nickname's the Burden.
Yes, her nickname is the Burden, but we love her. Bill says, by the time you read this, you should be going to sleep. Laugh out loud. That's so mean. That was left at 8:38. It's now what? 8:47. I'm only 11 minutes behind. I'm catching up. Darlene says it was just pouring rain all day. They were having the town Pumpkin Fest today. Pumpkin Fest. Okay. If you're afraid of pumpkin spice, pumpkin lattes.
Ugh.
Oh, you know what? Walmart has a pumpkin roll. It's like a Swiss cake roll with the Swiss cake roll with the chocolate covering. This is a pumpkin spice roll, but it doesn't have chocolate on it. It's pumpkin spice cake with like a filling. Oh my god, it is. Yeah. It's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's pumpkin spice season right now. Like yeah, everywhere you go, it's like white women with a pumpkin latte wearing UGG boots, leggings, a scarf, and a wide brimmed hat.
My wife's
uniform.
My wife's not into the pumpkin. She likes the peppermint.
Yeah,
peppermint spice. So
peppermint.
Yeah, whatever. I know. Bill says, or maybe not. Okay, I'm not sure what he's referring to. I guess I missed what he was saying. That's all right. Tattle says, I've told live scammers who ask how I'm doing that I'm miserable. The word probably isn't in their script, and they respond as if that's practically a normal response. I keep having somebody comment on my channel on my videos saying, quit saying you're doing good or very good or whatever. So mix it up a little bit. I just honestly, when I talk to the scammers, I generally like to be positive and affirming to them in order to keep them on the phone and keep going. I don't immediately start blasting them. I don't immediately start yelling at them or screaming, even though there are times I want to. But I tend to be in a upbeat, positive attitude in order to keep them on the phone.
Yeah.
But every now and then I have gone off on them because
and some of them, it makes them angry. It makes them angrier when you keep being upbeat and messing with them.
Well, I always find it funny where they call and I'm like, oh man, thank God you called. I've been waiting for this call. They're like, click. Like, you guys are horrible. You're absolutely horrible. B Bernie B's here says, since open enrollment started, my scam Medicare calls have exploded. Yep, absolutely. They are going to take advantage of that all the way through the 7th of December. This is a month and a half, or almost 2 months, almost 2 months straight of just Medicare after Medicare after Medicare. All I can say is they give me content for my channel, and I love it. Judy's here. Hey, Judy says, can you explain how the Medicare scam is about? Sorry, I'm a new viewer and just found your channel this week. There's a lot of different aspects to the Medicare scams. The most common one that they do is they're trying to get your personal information in order to bill Medicare for services you never asked for and you never received. It's huge. It's an industry-wide issue, and all they're trying to do is gather your personal information. The second type of Medicare scam is where they call you and say, they ask you, do you have Medicare? And they say, yes. Okay. We're going to transfer you to a licensed agent to help you pick, whatever supplemental insurance with your Medicare, your Part C and Part D and all that. And they're most of the time they're transferring you to a real agent that handles Medicare. But here's the trick, Judy. They're listening in on the call. They're still there with you, listening in on the call. And what they're doing is they're trying to gather your personal information in order to scam you later on. So when you get a call from some Indian foreign call center and they transfer you to a legitimate agent, licensed agent, most of the time they're still sitting there listening in on the call. And a lot of times the licensed agents have no idea what's going on, though they should. They should all be well aware of these scams because these are very, very common scams, but they don't have the time, nor do they care, which is crazy. Sometimes the licensed agents are just as bad, but they let this stuff happen. Licensed agents should, the very first thing out of their mouth when they talk to you is, did you call us directly or are you being transferred from somebody else? And if you are, you need to call us directly. That should be their opening line on every single call. But they're not going to do that because that takes too much time away from whatever it is they're trying to do. But they should say, hello, were you transferred from somebody else or did you call us directly? That should be the first question every single time, and it never is. So bottom line is scammers are going to try to get your personal information to use it for all sorts of nefarious purposes. Nailed it. Got that word right the first time. Nefarious. It's exactly what it is. So if you get a call from somebody, never, ever, 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 ever give them your personal information. And if you need help with your Medicare, call Medicare directly. Call the Medicare helplines. Google whatever information it is you're looking for and call them yourself. Don't get transferred from a third party because there's a good chance that third party is listening in on your call. Just keep that in mind. Manuel says, good evening to B. Bernie B. Judy says, C. B. Bernie B says, LOL. Uh-oh. Something I must have said was funny. Manuel says, good evening to Judy. Bill says, I say use the name Ian Dion. Ian Dion. God, that's even difficult for me to say. Crap, that would scare them. Judy says, new to the channel, what is the Medicare scam about? All right, we already talked about that. Sarah says, if you were a woman, you could use polyester cotton. Oh, goodness gracious. We're not talking about my shorts again, are we?
No, your name.
Oh, okay. Polyester cotton. Mm. Guys, you've heard some of my calls where I'll say who you're calling for after I've had a conversation with the people, and they say, well, we're looking for Jennifer. Said, do I sound like Jennifer? I mean, they're dumb. They're really dumb. Darlene says, Pleasant Green uses bend over. Yep, his wife is I leaned over. That's good. Strong Foot here. Hey, how's it going, Strong? Good evening, everyone. Scam baiters are awesome, fighting the viral scammers. Well, if they're going to call, I'm going to keep screwing with them. Love it. Bill says, Judy, they try to use your name and Medicare number and have LLC set up to make fraudulent charges on your account. That is absolutely correct. They're trying to bill Medicare for services you never asked for and you never received. And a lot of times, because Medicare is this big bloated government entity, Medicare will pay it before they realize it's not valid. And there's a good chance they can get as much money as possible. We talked about that just a few weeks ago. Betty Bam Bam shared an article with me in which an Indian guy living in the States, he had a company and they did a call center here in the U.S. and they did millions of dollars in just a few months scamming Medicare. It doesn't take very much. So Birth says, Pleasant Green, the scam baiter uses bend over. Okay. Phillips here. Hey, Phillips says, I work for 99.1 FM Talk, and I plugged your channel for entertainment and education and education to show to our listeners, elderly parents. Okay, fantastic. Philip, thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's awesome. That's awesome. I definitely have a face for radio. Wouldn't you agree, Avery? He's not chiming in. Pez says good day to Bill. Manuel says good evening to Philip. Bill says hello to Pez. Glenn says, I'm surprised only one Medicare call this week. One? Only one this week? That's crazy. All the same questions: age, birthday, part A and B. No, I don't have vision or hearing coverage. My fish is already insured. Herring. That's good. Bill says, who is Raphael? Raphael is my future son-in-law. One of these days, I'll get him to make an appearance on the show. He's a good kid. It's not a kid. He's a man. He's a good man. My daughter loves him, so we all love him. So it's one of those things. Judy says, thanks, Bill G, for what. That's what my husband thought. Pez says, good day, Strongfoot. Dingbat says, good evening to everyone. Big thanks to Drew for super videos. Well, you are absolutely welcome. Pez says, good day, Dingbat. Bill says, ignore me, I'm sleepy. Me too. I can't believe you guys chime in to listen to me talk for an hour on Saturday nights. I'm usually exhausted. Woo. Pez says, good day to Darlene. Star Chaser says, Mike B. Hanging called Harry Balls to Seymour Butts. Seymour Butts I've heard before. Mike be hanging. That's a good one. Sarah says, if Ella Fitzgerald and Father Vader got married, she would be Elevator. That's another good dad joke right there.
Oh, man.
Darlene says, a pumpkin fest is a display of pumpkins around the central square, food courts, and a small parade. Oh, that's cool. I think here in town, like one of the biggest Halloween type events for families is the Spooktacular that they do at the zoo, which is kind of cool. My daughter, when she was in high school, used to volunteer and get to go to the zoo and be involved in that. And they usually have lights and pumpkins everywhere and people dressed up, and it's a fun thing. I don't think they've ever done a pumpkin fest, but it's very similar, I think.
I heard a PSA the other day on the radio warning people not to eat the rotten pumpkins that were jack-o'-lanterns after Halloween because they might get sick. I'm like, you had to tell people that?
That's like having to tell people don't drink bleach, you know?
Yeah, don't eat the Tide Pods.
Don't eat rotten pumpkin, you know?
The fact that they did this on the radio means somebody
did it. Yeah.
Ate a rotten pumpkin.
Well, if you think about it, every time you read a warning on any package whatsoever, you have to realize somebody somewhere did whatever they're warning you not to do.
Yeah. Like when it tells you not to microwave your pet.
Yes.
Someone
or don't iron your clothes while wearing your clothes.
Yeah.
Because somebody out there did it.
Yeah.
Rotten pumpkin. Oh man, I don't think I could handle that.
Yeah, dude. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. I was just like, I'm like, that means somebody did it.
That means somebody did it. Yeah. You know what we should do? We should come up with a whole bunch of fake PSAs where people say, oh my gosh, did somebody actually do that? You know, like some crazy thing.
No, but the thing is, there probably is somebody that did it.
Like, don't tie your shoes while you're driving your car. You know? something silly like that. Somebody probably did that. Yeah. All right, let me catch up. Bill says, do you have a comic script about all the presidents? What would it be called? Do we have a comic script about all the presidents? What would it be called? That's a good question. Tattle says, I tried the what answer to a hearing scammer. She figured out I was doing after only 2 tries. The good news is she hasn't called back yet. I did that to a hearing aid scam, but it was a robocall. But somebody is listening in order to respond to the questions. And I was just, what? Do you have an issue with hearing? Well, yeah, what? Speak up, I can't hear. You just got to. When they ask that kind of question, you just got to.
I was going to say to the comic question, too bad the name for the comic criminal's already taken.
Oh. Dirtbags. Yeah, exactly. Glassball says, it's getting to the end of the year and scammers are hot and heavy for the annual quota. I find that like at the end of every month that happens as well. So, yeah. End of the year should be just as bad. Pez says good day to Judy. Darlene says good morning to Pez. Pez says good day to Sarah. Judy says, so I'm only 62, no Medicare. Why am I getting so many calls? I can't explain that. I cannot, Judy. I think a lot of it may have to do with they literally call everybody. They call every single number trying to find people who are on Medicare in order to try to take advantage of them. So, Pez says, good day to Tattletale. Philip says, how about the name Calcutta? That's good. That's good. I like that one. Manuel says, good evening to Strongfoot. Glass Bottle says, scammers don't call me anymore. They don't? What did you do to get them to stop calling you? You know, I've even tried I'll admit to you guys this, but I won't admit it to anybody else. It's not like I'm doing this in public where anybody could hear it. But when I get a female scammer, there are times where I'm like, ooh, I need to see if I can, try to hit on this person and see if I can make a connection. 9 out of 10 times, no, 99 out of 100 times, they usually just hang up. So I'm pretty sure they get that type of response all the time, as they should, because they're despicable. Jim says, I used to work at a radio station from 1986 to 1993, WNJR Radio 1430 AM. Very cool. Jim could confirm I have a face for radio. Stop. I made that joke earlier. You didn't say anything. I wasn't sure if you were listening at the time.
I may have had it on mute and didn't realize.
That's a good possibility. You're probably falling down laughing, but Glenn says, I have a face for radio and shorts for Victoria's Secret.
Oh! Whoa, buddy.
Sarah says, good day to Pez. Scar Chaser says, I once killed 6 zombies and 9 vampires. I still wonder why they were carrying bags of candy. I'm dying. That's good, Star. That's good. Sarah says, got to pick up my son from work. Good night. Take it easy, Sarah. Thank you so much for coming. D-Bad says, you can't fix stupid. No, you cannot. You can't argue with it either.
No.
Keep that in mind. Glenn says, feel free to publish my fake name list. I'm still adding to it. Okay. I'll make it available. I'll probably do like a community post and share it. Absolutely. Birth says, one scammer asked if I had part A and B. I said, no, I have part X, Y, and Z. And they probably were like, what? What are you talking? Yeah. B. Bernie B says, don't eat the yellow snow. No, I know that one.
Yeah.
Birth says, have I told you that he said F you? And I said, you're probably not my type. And I don't know what to look like. So no thanks. Why? When the scammers call and they start asking me stuff, and I always say, what are you trying to do? Were you trying to pick me up? Are you hitting on me or what? It's funny. They get very squeamish about that kind of talk.
Yeah.
I think it takes them by surprise. But yeah. I am extremely secure in my masculinity that I can make those jokes and make those comments and not feel ashamed at all. Hell, I'm a guy living in Florida. We make those. We spent our entire high school years making fun of each other.
Oh yeah. 90s
all the time.
Humor was brutal.
It was. Nigella says, refund scam says you missed the period. Bill says, have you seen TwitchCon? And would you like to go? I don't know what TwitchCon is.
If you're a Twitch streamer, that's the thing to go to.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't stream on Twitch. I never have. It's probably a bunch of gamers, right? I'm assuming it's probably a lot of gamers.
Twitch has more than gamers, but the gamers are what the big thing on there.
Yeah.
Actually, it's Twitch is ruled by the e-girls now these days.
Oh boy. Yeah, same thing with my my OnlyFans. It's all the e-girls that tip it over, and now nobody comes to my channel.
Yeah.
Manuel says, good evening, Nigella. Glass Bottle says, scammers have some info like name and age. Oh, I got to get to the story. I got to catch up on the chat so I can tell you my quick story. Nigella says, Harvey scam bait is good. Okay. I don't think I've heard of that one. Glass Bottle says, I abuse the scammers bad. Fantastic. We love to hear that. Manuel says, I turn 61 years old next week. Fantastic.
Oh, happy birthday.
I'm catching up on you, man. I'm only about 11 years behind you, but I'm catching up on you. Manuel says, yes, Harvey, he's a great scam baiter. Andy says, those scammers make me mad when they can't spell Timothy Smith. I said it more than 3 times. They can't spell it, and I wanted to waste your time. Well, that's one way to do it. Star Chaser says, ignorance can be educated and crazy, but wait, is it? Ignorance can be educated and crazy can be medicated, but there is no cure for stupid. Absolutely. Pez says, good day to Nigella, and says, yes, HD is good, and I see it earlier. Okay. Manuel says, I watched your video about comic books this morning. Well, fantastic. I like making those. All right, I caught up on the chat. Now that we've been doing this for 1 hour and 5 minutes, I've caught up on the chat. But I wanted to tell you a quick story. This morning, I get a call from a Medicare scammer. And, of course, he says, he starts talking to me about Medicare and so forth. And I ask him, I said, well, who are you calling for? And he says, well, hold on a second. Let me look it up. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, this should be entertaining. Let's see what he comes back and says. And he came back and said, I'm looking for Andrew. And I said, well, you got me. This is me. And he says, okay, well, let's talk about your Medicare. And I went, hold on a second. Let me ask you a question. If you got my name, do you have my age or my date of birth? And he actually had my correct date of birth. And I said, okay. And when he gave it to me, I said, well, how old does that make me? And it just goes to show how stupid they are. His math came back and said, you're 69. And I said, nope, try again. And he struggled for a little bit. And then he got my right age. And then I said, and of course, I don't even qualify for Medicare, because we argued at the beginning of the call on the fact that whether or not I had Medicare or not, right? And I'm like, that he was calling for the right person. And I told him, I said, I don't qualify for Medicare. He goes, okay, well, we'll call you back in 15 years. I said, more like 15 minutes. But it was bad. It was bad. The guy, he literally Googled my telephone number to find out who I was, and only to find out that I don't even qualify for Medicare. But at the beginning of the call, he was telling me how Medicare gave him the number to call. That was who is the one that had him contact us, which, as you know, is full of poopy. All right, I'm going to catch back up on the chat real quick, and then we're going to wrap things up because there's a few extra people here I got to say hi to. Bill says most of the top scam baiters use Twitch. You should start an account. Really? On Twitch? Maybe I might have to. Betty's here. He says, hello, Misfit Corner Scams. Welcome to the show, Betty. So glad you were able to come by. Betty says, hello, everyone in chat. Glenn says, I never thought I'd get this old this fast. Now 69, and I'm not looking forward to the next one. See, I'm still way off from that, too. I'm only 49, so not old enough for Medicare, but old enough to get the calls. Bill says, Betty, nice to see you. Manuel says, good evening to my friend Betty. Betty says, I waited until he was caught up with the chat to join. Now that's funny. That's a smart woman right there. So if you want to get your chat read in a timely manner, wait till I get caught up. So sad. So sad. Betty says hello to Bill. Pez says good day to Betty. Betty says hello to Manuel. Betty says hi to Pez. Jim says good evening to Betty. Betty is very, very popular around here. She says yes. Good evening to Jim. Berth says, can you explain the final expense scam to me? I got several of those this week, and I don't understand the scam. That's one that I don't honestly know if I've ever gotten to the end of one of those, because I have gotten callback from people who claim to be final expense insurance agents. where they got the information to call me from the scamming people. So they're calling independent of the scammers. So, of course, the scammers are not listening in. But usually what they say is, you requested this call, and then they always ask for either Timothy or Herschel or somebody. So they're getting the information from the scammers. I have been told, and I know this to be a fact, there is such a thing as final expense insurance, funeral expense insurance. These things do exist. They are real insurance that you can purchase. But by God, if you need it, contact an insurance agent yourself. Do not accept these calls from these people calling and then wanting to transfer you or wanting to set up a callback, because it's all the scammers using your information and gaining your information for whatever nefarious purposes. Boop, nailed it twice. Nefarious purposes that they're up to. So there is that's one of the genuine smart things that scammers do, is they base their lies and their reason for calling you, they wrap it in truth. Because guess what? We are in Medicare open enrollment. So when they call you and say, hey, we're calling about your Medicare to help you get through medical, that is a valid truth. But what they're trying to do is collect your information and steal your information. So they give you a lie wrapped in truth. So there's a truth out there. There is final expense insurance out there. They're not trying to help you. So just so you know. Pez says, good day to Jim. Nigella says, almost all the Rawalpindi Pakistans, almost all are in, I think she's referring to the final expense insurance ones, because I've heard that a lot. Betty says hello to Nigella. Jim says good morning to Pez. Nigella says hi to Betty. Glenn says, have a great weekend ahead. Yes, absolutely, sir. We're wrapping up right now. Bill says, love to everybody. Jim says, good night and have a blessed week all. Bill says, now I've got to go reheat my hot dog. Please do, because you hate cold hot dogs. Star Chaser says, webinar, how to avoid fraud. Registration fee $99. This webinar is canceled. Registration fee is non-refundable. I am absolutely 100% positive that happens all the time, and there's suckers born every day.
Oh, yeah. Yep. There's so many webinar scams.
Manuel sends smiley faces, ghost faces, football faces, and what looks like a devil's face. I know Manuel's a little devil. I know it to be a fact. You're a good man, sir. Betty says, we are in Medicare open enrollment, but we are asked the scammers when it ends, they hang up. Really? I've actually had some of them tell me December 7th. They're aware of the date. So Craig says, everybody have fun. If you don't have it, just don't have it. Everybody have fun. You don't have to. It's just my best advice. Absolutely. Darlene says, I have 2 years to go to be eligible for Medicare. They have called for my son, Nelson, who is on disability. It was a scam. Yep. Be careful. Be very careful when they call you, because Medicare does not have time to call people. They don't. You go to their website and they tell you they do not do calls like that. Pez says, take care and stay safe, everybody. Respect from Oz. Absolutely. Betty's to Star Chaser says, blue face, or face blue smiling. And Betty says, you too, stay safe, Pez. And last but not least, Bill says, do you believe at these policemen's fundraisers? Absolutely not. You listen to the script, and it tells you specifically they're collecting in order to elect politicians. So your money is not going to the policemen. Your money is not going to help people with cancer. It's not going to help veterans. It is going to politicians. The worst of the worst. Oh, one more. Star Chaser says, surely the best advert for anti-aging cream would be a 5-year-old laying in the bathroom floor covered in cream shouting, help, I used too much. On that note, you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Everybody stay safe this week. Always remember, if you get calls like the ones I get, either hang up on them or screw with them like I do. And if you screw with them, record it and then share it with everybody. So remember, screw and share. Good night, everybody. I hope you all have a safe week. Manuel, happy early birthday. I hope you have a fantastic week. Everybody out there, stay safe. Everybody be good. Thank you again, Avery, for joining. I'll catch y'all next time.
Bye.